Hello and welcome to the We All Follow podcast. My name is Matt Fox. I'm your host, Nigel. I only wear black to funerals. And there was no remontada to be had at the Santiago Bernabeu. How are you doing tonight, buddy?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Very good. Very good.
Clearly, it's night where you are, 100% obviously, as you can see by the fake background, the green screen in the background of the outside where you live. But what a night 2 nights ago at the Santiago
Yeah.
Bernabeu, the I think undoubtedly the match of the week in terms of coming into the week, right? We can talk about, and we will get to the Europa League matches here shortly, because we are at the stage where somebody cares about that competition. Follow us on X at We All Follow Pod. Moment of the week, Nigel. What you got for me, buddy?
Moment of the week is uh, at 3 o'clock on Wednesday morning, and Rodrigo's dad is doing prayers outside the Bernabeu and stick it on Instagram. What's all that about? What is all that about? I'm sorry, they went too far. I said this. I'd said it from the Thursday of the previous week. Yeah, when we beat them, when we'd beat them, I'd said it from Thursday, right? I was saying they are moving like the box. It's a big boxing fight, a big fight, and one of the boxers just he goes too far. He's spamming. He's spamming it. He's saying, "Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that," and he's. You can see that what we're doing is they are just burning a lot of nervous energy. Nervous energy, trying to talk themselves into maybe doing something. Right? They're trying to talk, and it was just constant, wasn't it? 24/7. Cristiano Ronaldo's going to come and he's going to do us a speech before the game, and the youth team's going to lead the coach down the road, and we're going to have the greatest fireworks show ever seen, and we're going to whistle when the Arsenal team come out, and remontada, 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 and they're all talking about it and stuff like that. Rodrigo's dad's throwing up prayers, is doing vigils, and I said, it's like that boxer what does all that talks, talks all before a fight. And then for the first 6 rounds of that fight, it's a bit of a stalemate because after all this talk, he ain't really got much substance. And then after the 6th round, so half time in football, all of a sudden we start to get hollow legs because they've burnt a lot of energy before that game. And second half in that game, you can tell you now, I've said it to loads of people, it'll be 0-0 at half time, and then Arsenal will win 2-0. I said, yeah, I'm on the group. I said, Arsenal will win 2-0. And the reason is Madrid have burnt themselves out before the game. And that second half, they'll have nothing left. Whereas Arsenal, we're just calm, cold killers. And that's what I thought to do. But yeah, Rodrigo Goyeza's dad, throwing up a vigil at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's my moment of the week.
That's a good one. I am a practitioner of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I also practice Judo. And, there was some really clean techniques in the match, Nigel. There was some really clean techniques. And there was, I think, three different techniques that were used. One was used by Jude Bellingham on Duran Timber. One was used by Rudiger. And there's a third one that I can't remember right off the top of my head. But I want to talk about, we always talk about sports, watching other sports and stuff like that. And I just want to bring judo back to professional football because that's what we've been missing. Arsenal 5, Real Madrid 1 on aggregate. Let's dive into that one a little bit more. Quick stats: the Real Madrid Arsenal match had 33 fouls. Out
Mm.
of all of the European, so the Champions League and the Europa League matches, that match had the most. The next closest was Manchester United. The Manchester United Lyon match which went to extra time. So they played 30 more minutes, and they only had 31 fouls. Um,
Mm.
so to describe, if you didn't watch it, if you've been living under a rock and have missed all 17,000 stories that I've posted to my Instagram account in the intervening days, then that might tell you a little bit about how the game went. But
Uh,
there was a really exciting match um, in the north of England where Aston Villa 3, PSG 2 on the match on the day. PSG going through on aggregate 5 goals to 4. Um, Nigel, do you think that was a did the right team go through?
over two legs, over two legs, possibly. I thought it was very even, to be fair. If you look at how, I mean, when Liverpool went away to PSG, Liverpool got battered away at PSG, somehow won 1-0 through their only shot, I think it were on target. They only had two shots all game, and I think PSG had about 30 in that game. Uh, but they managed, Liverpool managed to sneak it. Villa could have got two or three when they went away to PSG. They went 2-2 with them. And PSG had 3 goals all on the break and got away with it. Now, that game on Tuesday, Villa in that second half, they could have got 4 or 5. They could have got 4 or 5. But Unai is going to Unai, isn't he? And I cannot believe that Unai Emery did what he did in terms of his team selection and his substitutions. It was, it was, it was just wild.
Which one?
Yeah.
Which specific move was most surprising to you?
Uh, well, where do we start?
Was it
I
taking
would
off
go.
Rashford at 76 minutes?
Yeah,
Was it
Rashford going off was ridiculous. I mean, it was one of them where you thought he's probably playing the best football that he's played in a year, and you took him off. Why did you drop Watkins in the first place? I really didn't understand that. I didn't understand why they dropped Watkins in the first place. They played John McGinn. I know John McGinn probably got man at match, but they played John McGinn as a wide right. I just didn't. I didn't get it. I did not get it. What I would have done is I thought Anana was. I thought Amadou Anana was a bit miss. Is a bit of a miss. I'd have played Kamara and McGinn in the middle. I'd have started Rashford wide right and put Watkins up front and being a bit more attacking. But I think what Emery did is he thought, do you know what? We'll try and be a little bit better defensively and then try and hit on the counter. And it turned out it had to go the other way. He just had to attack. And I think that let him down. I think if Watkins would have started, I think they'd have won the game and got
yeah.
through. Not just won the game.
I mean, I think on the balance of the chances that they had, they should have gone through, right? Like
Yeah.
they deserved to based on the day, right, to make it through. And there was that weird goalkeeping error from Martinez, not quite like
Mm,
himself. He's usually pretty tidy in situations like that, and he kind of fumbled it, and they were able to put that one in.
mm,
And you take away that, and you bury one of those chances, and that's the tie. But
mm.
those are the margins that we talk about in this competition, right? Like this competition is very very unforgiving,
Yeah.
and we'll get back to the unforgiving nature of it, and as in terms of unforced errors, right? When we circle back to the Arsenal match, um, Dortmund 3, Barcelona 1 on the day. Barcelona going through 5-3 on aggregate. Girassi with a hat trick on the day. That matchup actually had the highest XG of the knockout rounds, which is 3.81 for Dortmund. Did the right team go through?
Yes. Dortmund are atrocious. And I was surprised. I was surprised that Dortmund actually got a win in that game. I thought Barcelona were gonna walk all over him. But for some reason, Barca just switched off. Absolutely switched off. And if Max Bayer was a little bit more on his game, I think Dortmund possibly take it to extra time. They again, it's another team. They wasted so many chances. Dortmund, 11 shots on target. I mean,
Six big chances. I mean, six big chances is
six
that's
massive chances. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of them. And Barcelona. I mean, Barcelona get away with it. The Ben Barney scores an own goal. Are literally 5 minutes after setting up Garassi for his second. So yeah,
the margins are certainly fine. And then we had the Inter Bayern.
oh,
Oh God, this American guy can't take him anywhere. 2-2, a tight one there at the end. Did the right team go through?
no, I'm going to say no. And the only reason I'm going to say it is, I think Bayern should have blew Inter out of the water in the first leg. I mean, Harry Kane in that first leg missed three big chances. Musiala missed a big chance. I think Elise missed one as well. I think that first game they had about 5 or 6 big chances, Bayern, and lost 2-1 at home.
I think you
So
meant
it's
Sane,
one.
but yes,
Sane.
Musiala's
That
injured.
was it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sane.
2.1, 2.3 xG to 0.78 in the first match, which Inter won
Yeah.
2-1. There was that big Kane chance that he missed. Five big chances, 20 total shots for
Yeah.
Bayern. There was that
Yeah.
wonder goal that got outshadowed, the Inter wonder goal, and then they hit one on the counter late. But
Yeah.
which put Bayern in a tough position. They still managed to score 2 goals at the San Siro, which normally would put you in a pretty good position to move on.
And had more shots than Inter. They had more shots than Inter again. But genuinely,
Well, I don't think
Bayern.
that's particularly surprising based on the way that
No.
Inter are happy to play terrorist football. But
Yeah, but the thing is, any team who's more efficient in front of goal, put batter Inter there. The Inter are they're like a mix of Aston Villa and Newcastle, but in Europe. They are terrorists. When it comes
yeah, I
to
mean, we
football,
saw it. We
and
saw it firsthand in the league phase. One
yeah,
nil. They got a dodgy, not a dodgy penalty. They got the quintessential Champions League penalty, which the rules are different, so that we live with them.
mm,
And they sat back and headed crosses out of their box for 90 minutes. And
yeah,
that's the type of thing that you can put up. And I think when you're at that edge and you're missing a Musiala, right, who's out with
mm.
injury, who is a very clinical player and can make something out of absolutely nothing, then it makes it really hard for you to get through that time of tide, right?
I- I'll tell you what I did notice after watching the replay over both legs. And I've watched a fair bit of Inter because I do like watching a bit of Serie A football. So I've watched a fair bit of Inter. But one thing struck out massively in this game, particularly. And the only reason why I think it struck out a lot was because Bisek was on the bench and Dumfries is out injured. But Inter Milan are probably the slowest team that I've ever seen at the top tier. They have got no pace, none. Their back three, they played a back three of Pavard, Acerbi, and Bastoni, no pace. Their wing backs, Darmian and DiMarco, no pace. Three in midfield, Barella, Çalhanoğlu, Mkhitaryan, no pace. The only person who can run is Marcus Thuram up front. That's it. Defensively, they've got nothing. So if you're Barcelona, you must be licking your lips at playing into the fact that you've got Yamal, Rafinha, Ferran. Yeah, these guys can run. Yeah, I think Barca are going to destroy Inter. I think Barca are going to be in the final.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have the firepower to get it done. Interesting note, Marcus Thuram sounds American. Have you heard him speak English? He was on the CBS post match show, and he
Yeah,
sounds American. It's very bizarre.
yeah,
Like you usually get
yeah,
that with like NBA players who foreign NBA players who learn English in NBA locker rooms, and so
yeah.
they like sound like they're from the ends and they're from Latvia. Not the way that I expected his accent to sound, but nonetheless, sidebar. The big match, Nigel. What can I say? There was no remontada to be had. I think there was virtually no mistakes, by Arsenal, with the exception of not Jakobs Kivior, but William Saliba pretending that Vinny didn't exist, like whatever the brain fart that he had when that pass came in. And I mean, really, it might have been because that was the only time all match that Vinny pressed, so that was part of it. That he caught him on the one press. Maybe that should have been what you guys did the whole time, but that's none of my business. Unforced errors. What I was going to talk about was the Saka Panenka miss or save by Courtois. Um, what was your take on that one? I mean, it was definitely a ballsy effort. Uh, do
Do you know
you
what?
back the faith that he
I've got
has in
you've got to
himself?
yeah, you got to back his confidence. If we had gone out, if we'd have gone out, that would have come under it would have come under massive scrutiny. But the fact that he's willing to take that chance, don't bother me. I actually think he wanted to hit it a bit higher. He wanted to clip it high into the net, and he just didn't catch it right. I mean, if it's a foot higher, it's in the goal. Uh, but if you're going to chip it, go down the middle. Don't go down the don't go to the
Yeah,
side.
for sure.
But yeah, but this is what Bukayo is, and he comes back in the second half. What a finish! What a finish! And the you're on about the Saliba mistake. I mean, I thought it was a work of genius because what he did is he made Kivior look like the superstar of the two. Made a big mistake, so Florentino Perez is sat in the box and saying, "We're not going to spend money on him." It was a baller move by Saliba to put Perez off trying to get him. Uh,
Agent Saliba, secret agent
Agent
Saliba.
Saliba did himself. Yeah, he's done himself. Yeah, that was a great move. I mean, it was just one of them. To be fair, and my lad said it at the time when you saw the replay from the other side. Erdegaard is looking straight at Saliba. He should be shouting to him, "Man on!" and his mouth is shut. Yeah, his mouth is closed. He's got no. He should be saying that it's coming from the. He should be saying turn in, not turn out. He tries turning out towards the outside. He should be saying turn in, and then it's going to go back. Or it's man on, turn in. So it goes back to Raya. He doesn't say anything. So he immediately thinking, I'll just turn this way. It's and I think that's symptomatic currently of. I don't want to. I'm not blaming Erdegaard fully. I'm not. I'm saying it was Saliba's mistake, but it's symptomatic of Erdegaard lately, where he seems to be coasting, and he's a passenger currently in this team. And unless he starts stepping up genuinely at the start of next season, I don't think he's in the starting 11. If we get the players who we should get,
There are conversations to be had about this player. Today is not the day to have those conversations.
no, it's
That
not.
will be
It's not.
part of our
Yeah.
summer series when we go through. Well, maybe we'll go through the top 6 or the top 8, and the teams who have qualified for Champions League and the teams that are formally in the top
Mm,
6, and look at the players that might be underperforming. We might have him as part of those conversations. But until that
definitely.
day, I am here to celebrate a wonderful win. 2 assists from the man
Yeah.
masquerading as a number 9, Mikel Merino. Um, a wonderful goal taken by Gabby Martinelli to seal proceedings there at the end. A very Henri esque finish that harkened back to the way that he was playing, and I'm really glad to see him get the goal because he has been playing really well in the last I don't know, let's say 5, 6, 7, 8 matches, and so to have him get that just reward at the end. Scenes from Big Gabby's house on the couch with his knee brace on and all his
Mm.
friends fully kitted out. It was amazing. One of his friends had a signed Big Gabby shirt on. Like, you came over, "Yeah, can you sign the shirt?" And sat down and watched the match. I love it. The energy was definitely felt far and wide. So let's hop into the second tier European competition, which is called the Europa League. The quarterfinals were yesterday. Our good friend Nigel was there at the quarterfinal in Manchester.
One minute. Aston Villa versus PSG. Did you see what happened before the game?
Oh man, it was never go full Unai, bro. Never. How do you? All right, so if you missed it, Aston Villa was hosting PSG in the Champions League, and they played the Europa League music. And I know that Unai Emery is very familiar with this competition and its tunes, but that was diabolical. Somebody's got to
Shocking.
get sacked for that. Somebody's got. They're losing their Christmas bonus. Ask Souls, they're losing their bonus, Nigel.
Yeah. So Manu Leon. Let's dive into there. And all I'll say is, Old Trafford at the 110. Well, Old Trafford at the 90-minute mark is deathly silent. Yeah, until the player gets sent off. The player gets sent off, and all of a sudden they wake up. Yeah, into the first half of extra time, it is deathly silent. Lyon take a lead, and there is people starting to leave. Lyon get a penalty and go 4-2 up. It's a third empty. Yeah, there's loads of empty seats. But for some reason, and I say this now, Man United did not win that game. Lyon absolutely lost it. And this is a case of they went 4-2 up. There's 10 minutes to go. They're down to 10 men. But when they scored that fourth goal, they ran the full length of the pitch, celebrated in front of their own fans. Yeah. And they basically down tools in that corner. They thought, oh, we've won. No more effort needed. Wow. Switched off. Ed's gone. What they should have done is when that goal went in, Lacazette, being a leader what he is, he should have got said to everyone, look, just stay focused now, 10 minutes left. Instead, they went partying. They went partying, and all of a sudden, poof, gone. And to be fair to Man United, did they stop? No, they just started lumping it forward, And when you lump it forward and you're playing against a team who not really great in the air anyway, and you've got Maguire up there, you always got a chance of getting knockdowns. And not only does he get knockdowns, he also scores goals. But I could not believe how Lyon folded. But it was heads. They just lost the heads. Heads went.
An
That's how it goes.
unbelievable outcome. I mean, if you told the scriptwriters in the writers' room to write this one, they would have told you that it was an unbelievable outcome. Another big match. Lazio going through on
Oof.
uh,
Out. Lazio out.
Lazio out on penalties.
Lazio
Right,
went
they won
out
on
to
their day.
Buda.
They won.
They
They
won on the day,
yes, and they
but
that's
went out on pens.
three misses out of their pen takers. Guendouzi putting one in. Um, what a
I
day!
watched the pens. I watched the pens, Matt. Right, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, Buda Glimt took the first penalty and missed. Lazio score, and then Buda Glimt score three in a row. Lazio missed two. Guendouzi scores. He's got to score, yeah. So it's 3-2 to Glimt, right? Glimt have got a penalty to win it and miss. So Lazio's striker Tati Castellanos has got the fifth penalty. If he scores, it goes to sudden death. He takes one of the worst penalties you will ever see. He literally kicks it straight to the keeper at like knee height. It was atrocious. And I actually think the funny thing is, having watched a little bit of that, I think Spurs have beat Lazio. I think Spurs would beat Lazio over 2 legs. Lazio just don't look great at all. But I'll tell you what, I don't think Spurs will look forward going to Norway for that first leg, playing on a plastic pitch. And there's a reason why Boda Glimt are where they are, is because they're a really, really well-drilled team. And I can remember Arsenal going there 2 years ago in the Europa League. We won 1-0 away, won 3-0 at
Off of
home, but won 1-0
it
away.
was the funniest goal too. It was the one where Saka
Yeah,
kicked it against the keeper and like it bounced back against Saka's hip and into the goal. And
yeah,
other than that, we didn't create anything. So it's definitely, and
no,
obviously that was a little bit further in winter. It should be warming up slightly in Norway, even as far north as they are. But you never know how these things go. The weather
yeah.
can be strange, and the I think the biggest thing is if and we've discussed this offline ad nauseum, is if you don't play on that pitch regularly, it's really hard to tell where the ball is going.
I'll tell you what the other thing is, and this is it. I think this plays if a Swedish stroke Norwegian stroke Finnish team can get far in Europe, this is where it starts to play into their hands. So bearing in mind, their season's finished roughly about the end of the group stage. They've just had their break and they've just done their pre-season. And now, quarterfinals, quarterfinals, their league's just started. I think they've played 4 games, so three or 4 games so far. They're fresh. These players are fresh. They are fully motivated, fully fit. Nothing, no fatigue, no injuries. They are fully fresh. Whereas you've got the Central European teams, you're coming towards the end of the season, you're tired, you've got a lot of bits going on. I mean, Spurs have got to play this game. Buda Glimt will win the Norwegian league. They will absolutely hammer it again. Uh, and it's only the start of their season, so they can afford to rest a few players if they want in between these games. Tottenham can't rest no players. Imagine, I know Tottenham can't go down, the bottom three are down, but imagine if Tottenham ended up losing 2 or 3 more games in the league and finishing 16th or 17th.
Yeah,
I think
not a good look.
because because unless they win the Europa League and get into the Champions League, there is no European football next year. Uh, and I actually think Bilbao will get to Bilbao. I think Bilbao are going to win it anyway. I think it's written in the stars for Bilbao. So
And my hunch about the Norwegian weather is not quite accurate. Afternoons can be cool with highs averaging reaching 41 Fahrenheit, 5 C.
yeah,
So it's gonna be cold, bro. It's gonna be cold.
yeah.
Not like the
Hey,
weather in London is particularly warm, but when you're talking about going from a palatable temperature down to
hmm?
potentially around freezing by 8 p.m.
Hey, it's not just that as well. It's the sunlight. So Arctic Circle summer, that's going to be well, it's not summer yet, but we're coming in.
Spring, but
It
yeah.
stays a lot. It stays a lot lighter the further north you go. So all of a sudden, if you go up the day before, you're not sleeping properly because you got blackout curtains. It's still brilliant sunshine at 10 o'clock at night. These things start to change. It start to affect you, and it could.
And then
It's
and
good. I
that's not
think.
even like we said, that's not even getting into the fact of when that ball bounces and the ball goes
Oh,
over your head or it doesn't
yeah.
bounce as much as you're used to, like that stuff can really throw you off.
And the Astro, it's not great for hamstrings. So
No, no,
let's
for a
let's
team
see.
that likes to be running backwards. But moving on
Yeah,
to the Spurs, obviously, as we discussed, Spurs through against Frankfurt 1-0 on the day. Anything of note for in that game for you, Nigel?
yeah. Uh, if anyone thinks that Hugo Ekitike is ready for Arsenal, no, he's not ready. He looked like he looked like a fish out of water when it comes to the top level. Uh, he is a decent player, but he's not ready for Arsenal. So if any Arsenal fans were thinking, "Ooh, we should go and get him," he won't be an option for me.
All right. Ekitike still needing to cook. Athletic Club moving past
Oof.
Rangers. 2-0 on the day. Nice back post cross to one Nico Williams, who is being envied across the continent. Are Athletic Club the favorites in your eyes at this point?
Yes, yes, and they will win it. The final is in their own stadium. It's in the San Mamés. I think they'll beat Man United over two legs, and I think they win the final in their own stadium. And fittingly, they win the final in their own stadium. Nico Williams scores a winner, and then is granted his leave to go and join a Premier League giant.
All right, you heard it here first. Nico Williams to the Prem, Team TBD. And that brings us to the friendly confines of the Premier League, where Liverpool have almost assuredly won the title after a pair of draws from Arsenal in the last couple of matches, where fifth place in the will secure you the Champions League this year, and potentially might have six Champions League teams next year from the Premier League if one of Tottenham
Mm.
Hotspur and or Manchester United can end up winning the Europa League. But, as we've been talking about recently, that chase for fourth, third, fourth, and fifth, which I think one might say is really turning into a race for fourth and fifth. Nigel, who you got?
Yeah, I think top three are done. I said before I thought Newcastle were going to get top four anyway. And Newcastle have come up the rails. They're playing well. They won the trophy. They're playing well. They've got nothing else to play for now. They're just in that, and I think they're flying. I think Newcastle will get it secured. I think the top three now are pretty much set. I think it'll be Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle. Looking at the fixtures, what are left. Uh, I think Arsenal go away to Ipswich at the weekend, get the business done there. That kind of really ends Newcastle's chance, I think, of getting second. Uh, I think Liverpool tie it up. Liverpool will tie the league up in a couple of games, as expected. But yeah, the battle for fourth and fifth. Now, a few weeks ago, I said Forest need to be careful because I noticed when I was watching them, they'd become a little nervy. And I think that all of a sudden I think it reached up here. We could be in the Champions League. We could be in the Champions League. And I think they started thinking about it. Whereas before they were just freewheeling. Leicester won the league by just freewheeling. They did not give a damn about what went on and elsewhere. They were just win our game. Let's just win our game. And I think Forest have started thinking about it. So instead of thinking, let's just win the game, they're thinking, oh, we could be in the Champions League. And I noticed it. And the first time I noticed it was when they played Arsenal. And they're playing a team who've not got a striker, low on confidence, and they played for a 0-0 draw from minute one. Go out and get 3 points. You're at home. You're at home against a team who doesn't like going to don't like going to City Ground. And you played for a 0-0 draw. And I was like, oh, that was so defensive. It was so negative. And for me, that set the wrong tone. Don't get me wrong, they went on and won 3 games in a row after that. But
But
the
even
signs were,
this last match, you saw
yeah,
against Everton that was not not the strongest Everton team that we've ever seen, but almost more than double the XG, and Decore slotting away clinically as he is
mm,
wont to do. It's either him or Beto these days, and you get those long-legged guys running forward, and you're gonna have a bad day.
mm, the signs were there. The signs were there. But in terms of who I think might make it through now, are I mean, we're into some territory now where you're starting to look at fixtures and who's got who's left. I mean, City are away at Everton. City are away at
Yeah.
Everton and then home to Villa. Yeah. And then they're at home to Wolves, away to Southampton, home to Bournemouth, away to Fulham. Now, if I were looking at City's fixtures there, bear in mind they've got an FA Cup game against Forest in between Villa and Wolves. I think the games what are directly affecting them is obviously they've got to host Villa, so they could damage Villa's chances straight up. I think they'll go away and beat Everton. I think they'll beat Villa at home. I don't know why, but I think they'll beat Villa at home. But I think it'll be a score fest. I think they'll beat Wolves. I think they'll beat City. I think they'll beat Southampton. I think they'll beat Bournemouth, and I think they'll draw against Fulham on the last game of the season. But I think City will make it. I think City will be in the top four, top five. Forest, unfortunately, they're away at Tottenham. Spurs are just coming off a European game, but I think Forest will get a result against Tottenham. And I think it's going to plunge. I know Spurs are in the semi-finals. I think Spurs, possibly, after this weekend, could be in 17th. And that sounds stupid, doesn't it? But I think it could be. But then Forest's final league games. Forest play Brentford at home, Palace away. Palace have fell off. Leicester at home, West Ham away, Chelsea at home on the last game of the season. I think that Forest's chances of getting in the top six comes down to that last game of the season where they play Chelsea at home. That could be a play-in. That could be a play-in game for Champions League football. And the reason why is because I do think that all of them are going to be dropping points. I think, apart from City, I think Forest, Chelsea, and Villa are going to drop points. I mean, Chelsea have got West London. They've got a West
They
London
got
derby this weekend
quite
against
a
Fulham.
tough one.
They got Everton at home. They got Liverpool at home. Newcastle away. Man United at home, and then Forest away. I just don't see Chelsea. I think Chelsea are going to be fighting to get into seventh.
Yeah, I
Maybe.
think of the ones that you're talking about, obviously Chelsea also have the Conference League matches which are
Yeah.
against Continent FC, so but they are
Yeah. Yeah.
matches
Yeah.
that they will have to take seriously and play a serious team in. I think ultimately at this point, looking at just the schedules, Chelsea definitely have the hardest schedule of all the
Yeah.
teams remaining. And I think based on their inconsistency more than anything, puts them in a difficult position to try to qualify.
What has detracted from this battle is Bournemouth and Fulham. Both of them have had a shocking run recently. I mean, a shocking run. If both of them would have stayed in touch, maybe got 3 or 4 points more and been around about 52, 53 point mark, they would have been banging it purely on fixtures. Because when we talk about Chelsea's hard games, you then get to Villa. Villa host Newcastle this weekend. I think Villa possibly get a point, might even beat Newcastle because they know that they've got to win now to get in the Champions League. They can't afford not to. Then they're away at City. Then they've got an FA Cup semi-final. Then they've got Fulham at home, Bournemouth away, Tottenham at home, and then finish the season at Man United away. So effectively, Villa and Chelsea have got the hardest running by a long way. So they're playing catch up. But if
I mean,
either one of them,
I
if
think the thing is though, Nigel, sorry to interrupt you, but the difference between Chelsea and Villa right now is the form of their forwards, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Chelsea's
yeah,
have been struggling to score, and you know that Villa have goals in them, right? And
yeah,
so I think I it's more likely that you'll see Villa outscoring teams, and that's what
hmm
thinks for my position puts them in the position to secure top five.
yeah,
Now the question becomes at whose expense is that going to be, right? And unfortunately, I think that I personally believe that Forest will get Europe. It won't
yeah,
be Champions League. They're going to be the ones that fall off. And Aston Villa is able to push past Chelsea. Obviously, they're even on points right now. Chelsea ahead on a healthy goal differential, but um, having the firepower to get them down the stretch, I think, is going to make the difference.
I think if Villa don't get Champions League, there could be a wholesale sell-off at Villa. You could
Oh,
start. You could
it's
see,
gonna be like the red wedding
yeah.
for
You could
sure.
see Morgan Rogers, Ramsey, Watkin. You could see a lot of them being sold because you've seen their finances. What came out, they
Yeah,
are in deep doo
if
doo.
you're unaware, right now Villa's squad cost ratio, a bunch of financial tomfoolery has been taking place, and they're not making as much money as they're spending, and that's
Mm.
against the rules, Nigel. And so,
Yeah.
at some point, you got to make more money, shift wages, and or sell players. So, if they can't continue to get Champions League, then they are going to be forced into selling assets. And shedding
Hmm.
contracts, which is not good on the sporting side. And that was something that Unai Emery had mentioned in January when we were following the Ali Watkins saga, and I thought that they were going to sell Watkins because they had brought those players in on loan, and that's was how they were going to balance their books.
Mm.
But if they can make some of those deals before the new um, league season or however you call it, right? The deadline, financial deadline in the summer, then they can still balance those books in the way that they
Yeah.
need to. But again, they have to make Champions League on on a budgetary standpoint, and I personally believe that they will. I think they have the
Mm.
quality in the squad, and I think they have the goals in the squad. Most importantly, it'll be interesting
Yeah.
to see um, if ultimately Forrest is able to keep them back um,
Mm.
as we go in through the latter the point of the season. And it's really unfortunate because Forrest have been playing so well for so long. You'd really hate to see them fall off in that
Mm.
way. And I hope that they can get it together. It all starts this weekend at Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So you gave me a couple of hints there. You had Aston Villa potentially beating Newcastle. Where is my away double chance that I can put in my
Uh,
accumulator?
Forest at Tottenham. I think in the Brennan Johnson stroke Jed Spence derby, I think Forest at Tottenham. Tottenham coming off a emotional win last night for Ange. I think Forest might have too much for Spurs now. Energy wise and desire wise, I think they might have too much for him. But Bournemouth are going to beat Palace. That's Palace are in horrendous shape. They've played 2 away games this week in the last 5 days and conceded 10 goals. They look spent, and they've got a big semi-final coming up against Villa. Uh, I I don't know what's happened to Palace. Palace had not conceded a goal away from. I think they conceded no goals away from home since like December, and then conceded 10 in 2 games. From the point where, bearing in mind, they were 2-0 up against Man City, scored a third, and had it ruled out for offside by semi-automated VAR, semi-automated offside, and then conceded 10 straight. Is just bonkers, absolute bonkers. So I think Brentford and Brighton's are both teams to score. I think both teams will score in that game. I don't know
I,
if there'll be a
for
winner.
one, I am certainly happy that there is not a real title hunt going on with
Mm,
semi-automated VAR being introduced in week 32
yeah,
of the league season.
shocking.
That is unbelievably
I couldn't
diabolical.
believe it. I couldn't believe it. You've just introduced a new rule change with 7 matches to go. If you're gonna keep it in, just have it in the cup. Just keep it in the cup, in the FA Cup, Carabao Cup. Yeah, just keep it in that, and I've done with it. Maybe use it. Maybe use it in the football in the Championship playoffs. Yeah. Do not introduce it in as part of the league.
Like I
Do you
said,
know what that'd be like?
I'm glad that the
That'd be like
league's already done.
that would be like the NFL introducing dynamic kickoffs in week 13.
Yeah. I mean,
It's-
honestly, on both sides, the real like the thing is for the relegation battle as well. But we're talking about Aston Villa making Champions League, Nigel. This is a matter of hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars
and that
are
and that. So it could be the difference between a 120 FPS camera picking up your toe being that far offside compared to a bloke forgetting to draw the lines in Stockley Park.
right.
Yeah.
A bloke
All
who
right.
wants his buddy on the field to not be wrong,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like
So I think it's shocking. You
on a
can't
sporting side
introduce.
is so bad.
Yeah.
I
But yeah. So that's the thing. That's the thing. It's
head
just
scratcher.
head scratch,
Um,
absolute head scratch moment.
Crazy. But yeah, it's great to see you, Nigel. It's good to be back. Arsenal are into the semifinals of the Champions League for just the third time in their history. I think we're gonna see some really amazing matches in the next round
Mm,
of both the Europa League as well as the Champions League. As we move forward towards the conclusion of the season, I'm glad that there will be some good matches to watch that don't involve my team, that I can rock up and watch as a neutral. And it's very a bizarre feeling to watch a league match that
mm.
I'm not like I was so anxious for the Madrid match, even with the lead, and it was so weird turning on the match this weekend and being like, do, let's see what happens. It's a very strange feeling. Is that what
I'll
everybody else feels like?
mate. Honestly, I don't know. I've tried saying to someone before. I said for the first time in a long time, we're playing a big game in Europe, and I weren't even nervous. I thought, do you know what? We are not going to concede 3 goals. We are not going to concede 3 goals. We're actually going to go and win, and I believed that. I was like, we're going to win. We're going to
Oh,
win.
I
We're going to
believed
win.
it too, but I knew
Yeah,
that there
and
was going to be
there
some
was no nerves.
tomfoolery.
Yeah, oh yeah. I thought at some point, the referees are going to try to do something. I'll tell you what, I can't fault that referee, Letizia. He listened to what. Yeah, I've made a mistake. Change that. He was having none of it. The only bit what I think he got wrong was Rudiger shouldn't have been on the pitch when Partey got his yellow card. Rudiger shouldn't have been on the pitch. How UEFA didn't pick up his stamp on Lewis Skelly. I mean, it tried two ip-on manoeuvres already at corners and free kicks, and then stamps on Lewis Skelly, and you could tell that he knew exactly where he was putting his foot. I thought it was disgraceful. He should have been off. He
He's
should have been off.
he's I don't like to say this a lot, and I don't think I've ever called anybody on this podcast this. He's a dirty player, and there's not. He's
Oh
a dirty
no,
player,
agree.
and
He,
you know what I
he's
mean.
he thinks he's a big man.
Yeah, but he will be watching Arsenal play PSG from his couch, and that's just
Maybe,
like me.
or maybe because we didn't cover the third tier in Europe, because I mean it's like talking about League One.
The important
Maybe
stuff, Nigel. The
he
important
might be
stuff.
watching Chelsea versus Gardens.
That team has so many consonants in it. I honestly, if you ask me how to pronounce it, I'd pronounce it a different way every time. So, shout out to the folks up in your garden right behind you. And we'll talk to you next week.